Hello, it's Vidas again, and today I'm going to talk about how can you discover what kind of key is in your organ composition when you're practicing and playing, right? When you open your music score and you want to practice this piece, I recommend you first analyze your piece and get familiar with it and get familiar with the structure, with the tonalities, with the modulation, with the cadences, all these theoretical concepts. And the first thing to notice obviously is the key. What kind of key? And for many people this is a non-issue because it's so easy, right? But for some, for the beginners especially, it's a complicated task to discover what kind of key your composition is written in. Sometimes composer writes a piece in C major or a piece in D minor, right? D minor toccata and fugue, right? The famous one. But when it's not written, you have to discover it for yourself. And there is a very simple yet very secure procedure. If you follow these steps literally, you will have no trouble in discovering the key in your tonal music. So you look at the key signatures first, right? Let's imagine there are no key signatures, just the treble and the bass clef. Then your mind has to think, you have to think what kind of key has zero accidentals, right? And then you have to remember the circle of fifths. Circle of fifths is a system which is in which the keys are arranged in the ascending number of accidentals, starting from 0 sharps and then 1 sharp, 2 sharps, 3 sharps, 4 sharps, until you reach 6 or 7 sharps. Then you switch to flats. For example, 6 sharps become 6 flats, or 7 sharps become 5 flats, right? You switch enharmonically, and then you're going through the circle of fifths backwards. Then 6 flats, 5 flats, 4 flats, 3 flats, 2 flats, 1 flat, and again 0 accidentals. So that is circle of fifths, major and minor keys arranged this way. So when you see 0 accidentals, the first thing comes to mind: C major and A minor, right? And then you simply look at the last chord of your piece. It might be very confusing sometimes, right? Because you have the pedal part and the left hand part and the right hand part, and there might be more than 4 parts, more than 4 voices sounding at the same time. But what I recommend to do is to look at the bass part, either at the left hand, the lowest note of the left hand part, or the lowest note of the pedals, right? The bass, basically the bass line. So this means that the bass is the foundation of the harmony, right? Therefore we look at the bass first, the lowest note, the lowest sounding note. And if the lowest note is C, that's simple, C major. If the lowest note is A, that's A minor, right? And you can even check the entire chord, but the bass will tell you, because usually organ compositions tend to finish on the tonic chord of this key, right? If C major is your key, then the final chord should be C major chord, C, E, G. And the bass note, either in the left hand or the pedals, will be C, not E, not G, but C. The root of the chord, basically. That's why I'm telling you to look at the bass first. If the key is A minor, then your chord should be A minor chord, and the notes would be A, C, and E, right? Not in the bass would be A and not C and E, because we don't finish organ compositions in inversions. We usually finish the piece in root position chord. That's why you look. at the bass note. Okay, and if you see more flats next to the treble and the bass clef, for example, 4 flats, right? 4 flats indicate B flat, E flat, all these flats, right? B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. All these flats indicate the key of either A flat major or F minor. So your option is here to first look at the bass note at the end, and you will see either A flat or F note. So that's either A flat major or F minor. Very simple. In the majority of tonal music composed up until 1900s, and then things start to change, start to get complicated, complex, because sometimes composers, modern composers, right, especially 20th century composers or even 21st century composers, they don't think in terms of tonality and the key. They don't write their music in C major or A minor or A flat major, right? You will not see, for example, any accidentals in a modern, ultra modern piece next to the treble and the bass clef. Instead, you will see hundreds of accidentals next to the notes, right? And the key will not be C major, right? And even it will be, I think, wise to refrain from thinking in terms of the key. Maybe then you will have to think in terms of the mode. Maybe you will have to find an excerpt of your musical composition, maybe 2 measures, maybe 4 measures, and count all these notes and make them into a scale, right? Stepwise motion. And then you will discover what kind of notes go into this scale or into this mode, and you will know what kind of mode it is. But that will not necessarily will be a major scale or a minor scale, right? So, but in the majority of tonal music composed up to 1900s, the simple rule applies always. Look for the key signatures and then the last chord and the bass note, obviously. Some people also look at the first chord also. So of course, if composers finish on the tonic chord, very often you would start on the tonic chord as well. But if the piece is starting from the upbeat, right? Very often composers start on the dominant chord, on the subdominant chord, other chords than the tonic, right? And sometimes you would start the piece with inversion of the tonic chord. So sometimes it's a little confusing to look to just at the opening chord. Therefore, the real indication is, I think, the key signature and the last chord, and especially the bass note. Thanks for watching.